Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome back to my channel. This is STY Fashion Creation, and today we want to be making an off-shoulder bodice, from our normal basic bodice. We want to use this to make a peplum blouse, but we just want to create the upper part of it now from our basic bodice. And the first thing we need to do is to get our measurements, which I have as this. I have the shoulder, the bust, the underbust, the underbust cut, the bust span, and the half length. Now, I'll be using this line as my shoulder line, and the shoulder measurement I'm having here is 14 inches. I'll divide that into 2, which gives me 7 inches. I'll be adding half an inch to this, so I can use that to connect the bodice to my sleeve. So I have my 7.5 like this. Then I come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant. So let's just have our neckline for now as 3 inches, and as the width, the depth as 4 inches. We will not really be in need of this anyway, because we want it to be an off-shoulder blouse. Just that I decided to create this for easy understanding. Okay, so I can now connect this 1 inch to the neck to slant the shoulder like this. Now the next thing for me to do, because after the shoulder line I need to get my bust line, okay, then the under bust line, and also the length that I really want for this blouse, which is the half length, 16. So on each of these points I'll rule a line. Okay, I have this. I can easily label all this as shoulder line, bust line, under bust line, and the waist line. So now, I'm trying to shift the camera so what we are doing can be clearer. Okay, I think it's better this way. So now we'll get the armhole line, and the armhole line we are using for this tutorial is 7 inches. Just rule out the line and extend it this way, and that becomes our chest line. Now, I said we are going to make this basic bodice into an off-shoulder bodice. So how do we go about that? What we need to do is you decide the depth on the depth of the neck you want. I want to create a sweetheart neck here, and I'll be using 7 inches for the depth, which I have like this. So I can easily take this one up to wherever I want it. But just before then, I'll get the center of my armhole line, which is 3.5 inches, coming by half an inch, and use that to create my armhole curve. So I want a situation where I'll connect these 3 points together. So I have this as my armhole curve. Now I've already measured 7 inches for my sweetheart neck here for the depth. Okay, and from the armhole I'll be measuring 3 inches like this, and I'll connect the 2 points together with a curve. Like this. Okay, this is my new neckline, which is a sweetheart neck. Now, the bust span for this tutorial is 7 inches. We'll be dividing that by 2, which will give us 3.5. But we cannot just measure 3.5 because this is not a block, it's a pattern. So to this 3.5, I'll be adding half an inch, because after the draft and all of that, we need to join the two panels together, the center panel and the side panel. So I'll be measuring 4 inches for this, 4 inches on the bust line, 4 inches on the under bust line, and 4 inches on the waistline. I'll connect all those points together like this. But mind you, this is my bust point. So now we'll be creating the darts. But before we create our darts, we need to know where our measurement will stop on this line. So now we said the bust measurement we are working with is 34 divided by 4 will give us 8.5. I have a formula that I use that is working for me. I just add 2 inches to my bust measurement, which is 1 inch for the joining of these two panels together, the center panel and the side panel, half inch on each side. That's 1 inch, and the remaining 1 inch is for seam. That's my seam allowance. Then on the under bust line, because I want to be using 2 inches as my dart, this person is not busty, she's just an average person. She's not busty, so I'm using 2 inches for her dart. So these 2 inches, I will add extra 2 inches to it, which will make it 4 inches. 2 inches for my dart, 1 inch for joining of the two panels with half inch, and the remaining 1 inch for my seam. And I will do the same thing on the waistline. So if my bust is 34 divided by 4, which gives 8.5, I will add 2 inches to it, which is 10.5. So I have my 10.5 like this. On the under bust line, the circumference is 30 divided by 4 will give me 7.5. I will add 4 inches to that, which will give me 11.5. Also on the waist, I'll measure 11.5. And I can just come and connect all the points together. But mind you, instead of me coming this way to connect the point from the under bust to my bust line, I decided to go up straight. Why? Because this shape will not be a nice one. So when I finish cutting and joining my panels together, then I can remeasure and trim off whatever excess I have at the bust line. So this is what we have. Now to create our dart, we come to the under bust line. And we said we want to be using 2 inches for our dart. So these 2 inches I will share into 2 and pick half an inch on the center panel and 1.5 inches on the side panel. I'll do the same thing to the waist, and I'll connect the points together from the waist to the under bust line like this. Okay, now we move down to our bust line. Now this bust line, I'll be coming down from the bust points by half an inch. You can make it 1/4 of an inch depending on how busted the person is. You can even use 1 inch depending on how busted the person is. And I will also go up from the bust point by half an inch. Now to pick the dart, don't forget we measure 4 inches here. I'll measure the same 4 inches and I'll go up to this point. Okay, now my darts at the upper part, I also want to use 2 inches for this dart here. So I'll be picking half an inch on this side, just like I did to the down part, and I'll pick 1.5 inches here. I will connect these 2 points to the half an inch I have above the bust point, like this, and like this. Then I'll use my curve, my French curve, to connect these ones together in order to get a very nice curve. have gotten my off shoulder pattern from here. Well, mind you, if you look at my dart, if you measure what you have here from this point, we are having about 4 3/4 of an inch. If I measure the other dart leg, to be giving me almost 5.5 inches. So I need to make sure that the two legs are of the same length. So this is 5.5 inches. Okay, here. So I'll make this one, so I'll have an extension that will give me the same measurement with the other dart leg. So that will start from here. I'll add this to my dart leg, this first dart that I have here, the leg of the dart here, and I will draw out another curve to meet up with this. You can still use your French curve to do that, or you use your hand. So this will now be my dart. If I bring the two together, you see that the two will be equal. But just before I cut out my pattern, if you remember that we pick 1.5 inches out from here for that, we did the same thing here and we added it back. You remember our 244? Yeah. So we are going to do the same thing to this part. We are going to be adding this 1.5 inches back. I'm going to add it to this part. So just take your tape and measure 1.5 inches following this curve, and that will end here. And you can use this one now to form your new armhole curve. So like this. Now we're getting a new armhole curve. Like this. Now I can easily cut out my pattern without fear. I can come like this. Okay. Okay. So now we have our center panel and also our side panel.